Rapport and Mike Garofolo. Ian, let's start with the Minnesota Vikings keeping a stalwart on the back end of their defense in the fold in Harrison Smith.
You know, Harrison Smith staying in the Minnesota Vikings defense, and really, this has been something that's been up in the air for the last several days for the Vikings. A lot of their veterans, their status was up in the air. Of course, they moved on from from Eric Kendricks, moved on from Adam Thielen. Harrison Smith, though, was someone certainly they wanted to keep. They made him an offer on a restructured deal. I know he had interest elsewhere. A couple other teams, some very familiar teams, as a matter of fact. In the end, he elected to stay home with the Vikings and try to finish what he started. He gets a new deal for this coming year, $8 million at its base, the opportunity to earn $2 million and an incentive. Still a pretty strong deal for a safety.
Yeah, no question. Mike, let's talk a bit about the Philadelphia Eagles here and Miles Sanders getting a deal to leave the Eagles and moving into the Carolina Panthers backfield. What's that look like?
Yeah, we're going to get a guy in a second who stayed with the Eagles, but let's talk about the guy who left the Eagles because there's been a little bit of coming and a little bit of going with the Eagles, and Miles Sanders is going. The Eagles, look, they put money into certain positions, and Miles Sanders was just not going to fit the budget, particularly because they're trying to sign Jalen Hurts to a mega extension. So the Carolina Panthers said, come on down, Miles Sanders. 4 years, $25.4 million with $13 million fully guaranteed. It's a good deal for Miles Sanders in somewhat of a down market. It's also a good deal for the Panthers, by the way, because I think Miles Sanders is a darn good running back, and I know that they think the same as well. So would I give the edge to Samir Suleiman, the Vice President of Football Administration for the Panthers, or would I give it to Eddie Edwards, the agent for Miles Sanders in this case? I'm going to call it a draw and say good deal for both sides. Miles Sanders with Deuce Staley, reunited with Deuce Staley down in Carolina, his running backs coach from his time with the Eagles. Good deal for everybody involved.
Speaking of good deal, we are still waiting on the firm and final deal for Darius Slay, the new Eagles corner, which has a big similarity to Darius Slay, the old Eagles corner, who was released yesterday, announcing that he was released in a tweet, leading to a fury of action. I know there was certainly going to be some interest from some other teams, and this was really a matter of the Eagles and Slay just not able to agree on a contract, wanted to see his market, had the opportunity to seek a trade. And then fast forward for a couple hours, and bang, he is back with the Eagles, as he said, like he never left. Run it back. That's exactly what they're doing. So Slay gets a new deal with the Philadelphia Eagles, and somehow, despite all their cap issues, despite the Jalen Hurts signing that is at some point looming, they keep Fletcher Cox, they keep James Bradbury, and they keep Darius Slay.
Any room for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to make a return to Philadelphia? I guess something will also be following here. If that trend line continues in Philly. Guys, thanks very much. Continue checking back with you throughout the program here on Free Agency Frenzy. When we come back, David Montgomery finding a new destination in Detroit, staying in the NFC North. What does Cynthia Freeland